I've spent the last year analysing 1985's Back to the Future, and I've found that the time travel in the movie doesn't actually make sense. Which is strange, because over the last 4 decades, people have been praising it as one of the only time travel films that holds up to scrutiny. That's why I'm going to prove once and for all that Back to the Future fails as a time travel movie. But also, it's still one of my favourite movies anyway, you'll see what I mean. After examining dozens of time travel movies, I've found that there are 2 main types of time travel in fiction, and all logically consistent time travel franchises fall into one of them. The first type is time travel where you can change the present by travelling back in time, yet you can remember the changes you made. For example, in one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who, the Doctor is aware that the first humans on Mars are going to die tragically, so he changes the timeline so that they survive. The second type is when the present can't be changed and all the changes are predestined. For example, in one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who, the Doctor receives a script from a girl in the modern day, and then after he gets stuck in the 1960s, he reads it out for her to write down and give to him at the start. There is no change in the timeline, these events always occurred. However, it's impossible for both these episodes to exist simultaneously, as they present time travel in completely different ways. They contradict each other. Most time travel franchises that run long enough, including Back to the Future, eventually encounter a situation where to tell the most interesting story, they have to abandon the rules of their universe, which I believe is fair enough. However, I lied. There's actually one more type of time travel that most people don't consider. In this third type, when you change the past, you remove your original timeline, including your memories of it. For example, in one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who, the Doctor's companion goes back in time and accidentally changes the way the word gravity is pronounced, and she keeps pronouncing it wrong for the rest of the episode because her alteration has changed her memories. She has now lived her entire life in the new timeline she created. This is where our problem is found. Marty begins to disappear during the movie, suggesting he is experiencing Type 3 time travel as his actions are clearly affecting him. But when he travels back to the 80s, he retains his memories of his previous life, and if he retains his memories, he isn't affecting himself, so we must be following Type 1 time travel. This movie clearly suggests Marty can affect his family's reality, but it's inconsistent about whether he can affect himself. Retro, who cares? It's just a dumb movie. Why does any of this matter? There are more important things, like— I only say this because literally every other aspect of this movie is perfect. For example, I think Back to the Future actually uses time travel really well to support its themes. The central thesis of the film is that if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, which is reflected by the film's sandbox-style time travel. Take George McFly, for example. At the start of the film, his life is terrible. His wife feels she was held back by him, and his kids are failures as a result of their family actively discouraging them from having any ambition. By travelling back in time, Marty is able to give his dad the encouragement he needs to develop into someone capable of positively impacting his community. Most films as acclaimed as Back to the Future have a greater set of philosophical stakes than this. Take another similar science fiction film. Star Wars, although presented in a wacky lens, discusses themes such as good versus selfishness and technology versus nature, all great themes that are ironically ignored by my actual review of Star Wars, which is easily the worst video I've ever done. But Back to the Future is just about being assertive versus being submissive. It's something that anyone can relate to, but it's less significant than the philosophical conflict of most films. As Marty says, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Marty's message here encapsulates the entire film. It's advice that I think everyone should try to live by. This ideological conflict is best seen in the climax when George finally saves Lorraine from Biff. It works especially well because the first time he tries to stand up to Biff, he fails, and we're so invested because things look so impossibly bad. But then, George commits to Marty's ideology and punches Biff in the face. This one scene manages to subvert George's physical conflict against Biff, which completes his character arc, which simultaneously reinforces the effectiveness of Marty's ideology. That's a physical, an internal, and a philosophical conflict all paid off in one perfect scene. That's incredibly impressive from a screenwriting perspective. This taps into what I believe is the main reason Back to the Future is such a masterpiece. It's because the protagonist Marty doesn't have a character arc. Instead, he exists as a representation of an ideology that allows other characters to have an arc, kind of like Ferris Bueller, which is my favourite film of all time. On a subjective level, Back to the Future means a lot to me because as a kid, I wanted to be exactly like Marty McFly, and I think this is because the movie does such a great job at establishing him as the coolest guy of all time. I mean, just look at him. He has a hot girlfriend, he's a time traveler, he sticks it to the lame authority figures, and most importantly, everyone at the gym waves at him when he goes by. He's so cool that as a kid, I decided I wanted to be exactly like Marty. I learned how to skateboard like he does, I made a poorly programmed video game where I could play as him. In fact, between you and me, this outfit I wear in my videos is loosely based off Marty, and others. There's just something I like about blue and red. Retro, stop. This is just embarrassing. What? No, it's not. Marty McFly is awesome. Well, that's obviously subjective. But objectively, he's also a total dumbass. He repeatedly makes reckless decisions like driving 88 miles per hour or jumping in front of the car, something the film always chastises him for. He only survives through Doc bailing him out and him repeatedly recreating stuff he's seen in movies. It appears your perception is based off a selective memory caused by your own personal bias. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Marty McFly actually dies and has his life ruined countless times in this film. I don't feel anything retro. At the end of the film, Marty watches another Marty go to the future. The Marty he watches we will call Marty 2, and the main Marty we follow throughout the film we will call Marty 1. Marty 2 has been raised by completely different and much better parents, and therefore he was likely nurtured to have an entirely different personality. This makes it almost impossible for them to make the same decisions and return to the same future. When he travels back in time, he's likely going to be put in the same situations as Marty, but because he's a different person, he's likely going to make completely different decisions. And who knows the ways Marty 2 would mess up the timeline. For starters, he's raised in a more privileged environment, which means he wouldn't have to learn how to skateboard because he would be able to afford a car. Therefore, he wouldn't be able to escape Biff in the cafe fight scene. We know for sure that Marty 2 must be sent into yet another different timeline when he time travels because Marty 1 stays here, which wouldn't happen if Marty 2 revisited his own timeline where Marty 1 is fixing George. The only alternative is that Marty 2 just stops existing once he time travels, and that's really dark too, because as established, he's an entirely different person with different experiences. Retro, you're so stupid! Everyone knows that all time travel discrepancies are solved by the theory of determinism. Like, read a book. What's that? A book is like a DVD, except it has words inside and you have to read the words. No, I know what a book is. What's the theory of determinism? A determinist, such as yours truly, emphasizes that one's actions are always influenced by external forces, meaning there's no free will. Therefore, in time travel, one cannot change anything because your time travel shenanigans are predestined. For example, if I went back in time to remind you of a meeting you forgot about, I wouldn't actually be able to do anything because my absence of free will means I have already done this and it was ineffectual. Oh no! I'm late for my boss's meeting! Why didn't you say anything? Oh no! My skateboard nearly got damaged.
Oh good, you're alive. I thought this was gonna be a whole legal thing.
That skateboard was signed by Michael J. Fox. You gotta be more careful.
Michael J. Fox? Oh, like the Back to the Future. Is that what this is referencing? You're not him, bro.
Shut up. I'm not gonna take coolness advice from my boss's wife.
Oh, don't remind me. Now I gotta have another joint. Thanks for that.
You sure you want to be driving while high, Mary?
Oh, shut up. Oh, you're worse than he is. Besides, if Michael J. Fox smokes marijuana, then how bad can it be?
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been driving whilst high for 40 years, and I've only hit 2 people.
You know, I really need a ride to one of your husband's meetings. Why do I even try? Has anyone else noticed how many cars there are in Back to the Future? There's obviously the DeLorean, but then there's also the car that runs over Marty, the truck that Marty wants, the 2 cars with the mayor's re-election campaigns, Biff's car which gets covered in manure, the car where Biff assaults Lorraine, the car Marty gets locked in during the climax, and the cars which he glides on during the coolest character introduction of all time. My theory is that the cars are symbolism for time itself. If you think about it, there aren't really that many aesthetic differences between the 1950s and the 1980s because they're only 30 years apart. However, basically anyone can tell that a 50s car and an 80s car are completely different. By emphasizing the motif of cars and their differences, it further heightens the differences between the time periods, making Marty feel even more out of time than he already is. It also further highlights the theme of change. I see you have met my mother. Charming woman, really. What do you want, Burnham? Let's take some pills! I'm not taking any drugs. Oh, but Retro, these aren't drugs. Sort of. These are time travel pills. With just one, you can be taken to any time of your choosing, so you can be on time for that little meeting of yours. They're drugs, aren't they? What? I'm gonna take them and you're gonna tell me that they're drugs immediately after. Oh, come on, Retro. I don't think you realize what I'm offering you here.
Retro, if you're late for another one of our meetings, you're being replaced.
Besides, haven't you always wanted to time travel? To be like
Marty McFly?
Okay, fine, I'll do it. I mean, they do have the same effects as drugs. Oh, what the hell, man? Retro, I would never lie to you. You're still going to see the past, just in a way that amuses me. Oh my god. Oh my god, I hate this. Hey, Retro, which Doctor Who episode is this most like? It's like only 5 to 9 things exist. It's like only 5 to 9 things exist. It's like only 5 to 9 things exist. What the hell is this? Breakfast. Did you sleep in your clothes again last night? Yeah? What are you wearing? Just a t-shirt? Sorry if that's not fancy enough for you, your highness. This hasn't happened to me, has it?
Good morning.
Mary, is that you?
Retro, are you alright?
My boy, isn't this a perfect day? How about we fire up the old Ferrari for a spin?
Barry! Aren't you a sight for sore eyes? What's the matter? Is everything alright?
You're not him, bro.
What? What are you talking about? I'm totally him.
It's okay.
Barry! What the hell is this? What the hell is this? I'm starting to suspect this was all a big waste of time. Back to the Future, although undeniably excellent for its character development and themes, clearly put very little thought into the mechanics of its time travel because it would go against the philosophy of the film. There's a lot of discourse online where a person will go over every aspect of a film's plot and nitpick small things to make a very reactionary, one-sided conclusion, and that's not the kind of content I want to make in regards to Back to the Future. Even though it would be more successful, if I made a review like that, it wouldn't say anything about what Back to the Future means to me on a subjective level. Back to the Future is more focused on being a fun, satisfying movie than something with logical consistency, and by breaking its own time travel rules, it exemplifies this fact. Never is this more clear than in one of the last scenes of the movie, where Marty asks Doc why he broke his time travel rules. And I think what Doc says in response summarizes the entire film.
Well, I figured. What the hell?
This can be interpreted as the writers challenging their own rules for the sake of a strong emotional payoff, which reflects the film's theme of taking charge of your own destiny. It's a masterpiece. Ugh, goddamn time travel pills. Is it over?
Dude, relax. You're safe. You're back in 1985.
1985?
Sorry, I've never really run over anyone before. Is it cool if we don't make a whole, legal thing out of this?
This is 1985?
Yeah, it's 1985. Now, not only were you clearly drunk, but you were also passed out in the middle of the road. So, this is mostly your fault.
Oh my god. It actually worked. How do I get back?
Hey, if you like drinking, I can buy you a beer or vodka. That way we can be even.
Mary, don't you realize what this means? I'm just like Marty McFly.